Hi everyone, I am Arpita Sharma. Welcome to the 4-week The Hindu Answer Writing course, wherein we are going to learn how to read the newspaper, how to segregate the articles in the Hindu newspaper GS paper wise, how to solve or attempt questions based on that article from the perspective of mains or prelims. This is a 4-week course wherein day by day we are going to learn how to read important articles, how to select the important articles from the paper, GS paper wise, and if any question is posed or you can say put in front of us by the examiner in mains, how to face that question. So what we are going to do is we are going to read the articles, the important articles in the Hindu newspaper. We are going to analyze them. We are going to mark them separately GS paper wise. Then we are going to solve one question from that article on the basis of mains. Okay. Now through this course, you will learn how to segregate articles GS paper wise, how to identify which article belongs to which GS paper, and we are going to understand how to analyze that article and how to face the questions that are posed in front of us in the mains examination. There are different terms like discuss in the questions. There are different terms like explain, or they can write analyze, or they can write enumerate. Right, these are the different terms that they can put in front of us. So how to cater to these terms in the mains answer writing, we are going to discuss that. So after the end of this batch, you will be confident of facing any question in mains. I'm not saying that you will know the answers immediately, but you will be confident in attempting that question. मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि भाई सभी questions का आंसर आपको आता होगा मेंस में इस बैच के बाद, नहीं। मैं आपको ये समझा रही हूं कि हमें सब कुछ आना चाहिए, ये जरूरी नहीं है। हमें जो क्वेश्चन या जो चैलेंज दिया गया है हम उसे फेस कर सके, अटेम्प्ट कर सके, ये जरूरी है। बिकॉज मार्क्स आपके अटेम्प्ट पे ही बेस्ड हैं, यानी कि आप कैसे किसी चीज को कम नॉलेज के बेसिस पे भी सिंपल वर्ड्स में अटेम्प्ट करते हो, यही टेस्ट किया जाता है। What is tested in the mains exam? How confident you are to put your views out there. That is tested, not your knowledge per se. Okay, how good you are, how confident you are when you try to simplify what you have studied about that topic. That is tested. Your vocabulary is not tested, or how beautifully you write is not tested. Your writing should be readable. That is, one could read it properly. We are not saying that you have to write just like the diamonds. No, just make sure that you are writing is readable. Secondly, make sure that you are simple in your approach. You simplify things. Only then you will be getting the marks in mains. Alright, so let's get started. Before we start, here's a small announcement. Unacademy is launching Combo Extension Week. Now you can start your UPSC CSE preparation with the extended prelims and mains batch courses. Extended means the offer of the discount period or the extension period is valid till May 11. That means if you're taking a 12-month subscription, you will be getting 3 months free. If you're getting 18-month subscription, you will get 3 months subscription free with that. Okay, this is the extension offer. And you can access this subscription by using code ARPITA10. So the links are given below in the description box. If you want to be a plus subscriber and you want to get the free extension, you can by subscribing today. Let's start. So as you can see on page number 1, now we are decoding today the newspaper of 3rd May 2022. ठीक है, आज हम 3 मई 2022 का न्यूज़पेपर डिकोड करेंगे. We will decode the newspaper of 4th May 2022. I'll upload the video and the questions related to that also, but that will be done tomorrow morning. Okay, tomorrow morning sharp by I guess 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. the video will be uploaded. Don't worry. Alright, because we have missed the 3rd May newspaper, so I am covering that also today. So now the first important article in the newspaper is no one can be forced to get vaccinated, says Supreme Court. Now this is a very important article in the Hindu newspaper today. Now here Supreme Court is talking about Article 21 over here. Article 21, that means it belongs to Indian polity. This article belongs to Indian polity, and Indian polity is in GS paper 2. You have to download the syllabus of UPSC. Okay, only then you will be in a position to know that which paper in mains belongs to which subject, and accordingly you can prepare. So GS paper 2 Indian polity article 21, this topic is talking about. Here the Supreme Court has said, especially Justice L. Nageshwara Rao has said, right of an individual A person has the right under Article 21 to not get vaccinated. You cannot force a person to get vaccinated, because then in that case you will be violating Article 21. Our constitution, it talks about that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty. हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है आर्टिकल 21 है, क्या बोलता है? इट स्पेसिफाइज दैट यू कैन नॉट स्नैच अवे अ पर्सन्स लाइफ और पर्सनल लिबर्टी. Okay, so here Article 21, is being used by Supreme Court by telling the government, ordering the government, and do not force people to get, COVID-19 vaccination. Supreme Court has said that no people, this is a drawing of people that I have made, okay? No people can be forced to get vaccinated, this is vaccine, against COVID-19. And it has also asked the union government to make public effects of immunization. That means, what are the benefits of immunization? If a person is vaccinated, what are the benefits of that? So the Supreme Court has asked the government that make the information public, tell the people the effects of immunization, if there are negative effects, even if there are positive effects. मान लो अगर नेगेटिव असर हो रहा है लोगों पे, वो भी आप लोगों को बताओ, पब्लिक के सामने रखो. एंड गलत असर हो रहा है तो वो भी आप बताओ, both the effects and the side effects. Okay, and Supreme Court has finally given its judgment that basically bodily integrity is protected under Article 21. This is important even for prelims, not just for mains. ये आपका टॉपिक ना prelims के लिए भी उतना ही important है, सिर्फ mains के लिए ही नहीं. तो यहाँ पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट बोलता है कि राइट टू बॉडीली इंटेग्रिटी ऑफ अ पर्सन इज मेंशन्ड इन आर्टिकल 21. दैट मींस यू हैव द राइट टू रिफ्यूज वैक्सीनेशन. कोई आपको फोर्स नहीं कर सकता. कल को आपको आप किसी को बोलते हो कि नहीं भाई मैंने तो वैक्सीन लगा ली, तुम भी लगवाओ, और फोर्स करते हो, दैट इज रॉन्ग. You cannot force your family members or anybody, because it's their right to bodily integrity. Okay, so the first part of the judgment of Supreme Court said that right to bodily integrity of a person is part of Article 21, so a person can refuse to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Second part that the Supreme Court has talked about in the judgment is about communitarian health. That is the health of the community. For that, if getting vaccinated is important, then people should get vaccinated. Government may ask people to get vaccinated because of the communitarian health. Government is entitled to regulate issues. But Supreme Court said that even if you are going to pass any order which forces the people to get vaccinated in the name of community health, then we have the right to review that order. We have the right to do judicial scrutiny of that order. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा कि अगर आप लोगों को कोई ऑर्डर पास करके फोर्स करते हो कि नहीं भाई कम्युनिटी की हेल्थ की जरूरत है, कम्युनिटी के वेलफेयर के लिए आप अपने आप को वैक्सीनेट करो, तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट उस ऑर्डर को जुडिशियली स्क्रूटनाइज भी कर सकता है. फॉर दैट, in judicial scrutiny, there is a 3-test formula that is used. Whenever there is a case of judicial scrutiny in Supreme Court, there is a 3-fold requirement for that order to get passed. अगर गवर्नमेंट ने कोई ऑर्डर पास किया है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट उसको जुडिशियली स्क्रूटनी कर रही है, ओके, तो उसमें 3 टेस्ट होंगे. अगर वो टेस्ट पास कर लिए उस ऑर्डर ने, तो वो ऑर्डर पास करवा दिया जाएगा. इफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर passes the 3-fold requirement of judicial scrutiny, then that order of the government or the rule or law of the government will be passed, which is known as doctrine of proportionality. Now this was not mentioned in the newspaper, and that is why it is important to read the newspaper very clearly. In the newspaper it is mentioned about judicial scrutiny. In the newspaper it's mentioned about 3-fold requirement, but doctrine of proportionality was not mentioned. And here if a question comes in UPSC in prelims about doctrine of proportionality, or in mains if the question comes about Article 21 or doctrine of proportionality, you will get confused because you had just read the newspaper. You have not researched deeply, right? So here is the usefulness of this batch. यहाँ आती है इस बैच की यूजफुलनेस, क्योंकि यहाँ पर हम वो भी पढ़ेंगे जो चीज न्यूज़पेपर मिस कर देता है, ताकि प्रीलिम्स और मेंस में आप ये ना बोलो कि ये क्वेश्चन तो आउट ऑफ सिलेबस है. देयर इज नथिंग आउट ऑफ सिलेबस इन यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स और मेंस. एवरीथिंग इज इन सिलेबस, बट द ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज दैट आवर साइट इज शॉर्ट. वी आर शॉर्ट साइटेड. वी जस्ट रीड द titles and then we just move on with our daily work. Okay, so now in this batch we are going to cover all the important topics as well. So what are the 3-fold requirement in doctrine of proportionality? Basically, the doctrine of proportionality was introduced in the Om Kumar versus Union of India case. It is a ground for judicial review. If a Supreme Court of a High Court is going for judicial review, then they have to invoke doctrine of proportionality. They use doctrine of proportionality to review government order or government law. The purpose of this proportionality test is to strike down, to cancel the laws that are harsh. कोई गवर्नमेंट का ऐसा लॉ जो कि बहुत एक्सट्रीमली हार्श है लोगों के लिए, एनी लॉ ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट इज एक्सट्रीमली हार्श फॉर द सिटीजंस, in that case Supreme Court or High Court uses doctrine of proportionality, wherein it says that administrative action should not be more drastic than it ought to be for obtaining the desired results. Whatever results the government wants, and for that if the government is using a kind of administrative action, legal action, it should not be more drastic than it should be. मतलब ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपको ये काम करवाना है जनता से, उसके लिए आप वो मीन्स यूज कर रहे हो जो आपको नहीं यूज करने चाहिए. ठीक है. सो देयर आर थ्री फोल्ड रिक्वायरमेंट इन डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ proportionality. The three tests. These three tests were used in K.S. Puttaswamy case, and that is why they became famous. Doctrine of proportionality, it was used in Om Kumar versus Union of India, and the three test requirement was added in this doctrine of proportionality in the K.S. Puttaswamy case. First test is that the state action or the government's action must have a legislative mandate. That means it should be legislatively legal. ऐसा नहीं है कि बस आज उठ के किसी मिनिस्टर ने कुछ ऑर्डर पास कर दिया और वो लोगों पे लगा दिया. नहीं. Okay, the order or the rule that the government is using should be a legislative mandate. It should be passed but through a proper legislative manner. Second test is the action of the government must show that objective of its law is founded on a legitimate governmental aim. That means the aim of the government behind passing that action or rule should be legitimate. Legal aim जो है वो सही होना चाहिए. ठीक है, लॉजिकल होना चाहिए, रैशनल होना चाहिए. एंड थर्ड test is it must be proportionate. That means such action must have no alternative. मतलब वो फाइनल एक्शन हो, फाइनल सोल्यूशन होना चाहिए किसी प्रॉब्लम का. All right, it must be necessary for a democratic society. If there is any alternative action, then why it is being used? अगर मान लो उस सोल्यूशन के बजाय कोई और अच्छा सोल्यूशन यूज कर सकते हो, तो जो गवर्नमेंट ने लॉ या रूल पास किया है वो तो अपने आप ही इलीगल हो जाएगा, अपने आप ही null and void हो जाएगा. So it says the action that the government has passed should be a rational action. Okay, point clear हो गया? So that must be proportionate. That should not harm people. It should be a rational and final solution to the problem that the society is facing. Now let us see. Now you have understood the article. Okay, what the Supreme Court is saying. Now let us see what question can we see in mains when it comes to Article 21, because we are talking about Article 21 here. Article 21 of the Constitution provides no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. कोई भी इंसान, उससे उसकी लाइफ नहीं छीन सकते हो आप, या उसकी पर्सनल लिबर्टी नहीं छीन सकते, एक्सेप्ट, यानी कि यहाँ पर भी एक्सेप्शन है, अकॉर्डिंग टू प्रोसीजर विच इज स्टैब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ. के द्वारा कोई प्रोसीजर स्टैब्लिश ऐसा किया गया कि इस केस में पर्सनल लिबर्टी को रिस्ट्रिक्ट किया जाए, या लाइफ, अ पर्सन इज गेटिंग डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ हिज लाइफ बिकॉज ही हैज कमिटेड सम वेरी हीनियस क्राइम. Except in those cases, no person shall be deprived of his life. मान लो किसी ने बहुत ही ज्यादा गंदा कांड किया है, कुछ बहुत ही ज्यादा बुरा क्राइम किया है जिसकी बेसिस पे उसको मृत्यु दंड मिल रही है, ऐसे केसेस को हटाकर वैसे किसी भी जनता में किसी भी इंसान की लाइफ नहीं छीनी जा सकती, या उसको पर्सनल लिबर्टी उससे नहीं छीनी जा सकती. आर्टिकल 21 निश्चित करता है. Discuss the statement in light of the current judgment of Supreme Court on vaccination against COVID-19. अब इस स्टेटमेंट को, दिस स्टेटमेंट फ्रॉम आर्टिकल 21 टिल लॉ, डिस्कस इट इन द लाइट ऑफ द जजमेंट दैट हैज बीन पास्ड बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जजमेंट पास किया है ना अभी कोविड-19 के केस में, तो इस केस में रिलेट करो. नाउ यू हैव टू रिलेट आर्टिकल 21 विद द जजमेंट दैट हैज बीन पास्ड बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट राइट नाउ. दिस क्वेश्चन कैन कम फॉर 250 वर्ड्स, 15 मार्क्स. 250 वर्ड्स मीन्स 1.5 पेजेस का ये क्वेश्चन आपका इजिली आपको 1.5 पेजेस मिलेंगे लिखने के लिए. 15 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन है. Now here, see, because it's a big question, 15 marks ka question hai, 250 words is a lot, right? So how you will begin your answer? You will not just directly begin your answer by writing the judgment. No. First, see, just consider that the examiner is a normal person like us. He has to be explained. उसको सब कुछ explain करना पड़ेगा. He's a layman. He does not know what is Article 21. So we have to explain. When we are writing answers, that means we are explaining the examiner. You are not explaining how much you know. No, you are explaining the examiner because he doesn't know anything. That is how you have to write the answer. आपको आंसर कैसे लिखना है, ये समझ के लिखना है. ऐसे समझ के नहीं लिखना कि भाई मुझे तो सब कुछ आता है. नहीं, आपको ये समझाना है कि भैया मैं आपको ये चीजें नहीं आती, मैं आपको कैसे सिंपल करके आर्टिकल 21 समझा सकता हूँ. ओके, सो हियर फर्स्ट व्हाट वी विल डू, वी विल डिवाइड द entire answer in 3 parts. You will not write heading like introduction. No, it is just for your understanding. In the actual exam, do not write headings like introduction, conclusion, body. No. Okay, this is just for your understanding. So first we'll write introduction, then we'll write the body of the answer, then we'll write the conclusion. This approach of writing answers in main is known as IBC approach. इसको हम बोलते हैं IBC approach. Always remember this. Okay, ये हमेशा याद रखना. So what is this IBC approach? Here what you have to do, first you have to write the introduction. In the introduction we will explain Article 21. Introduction में हम क्या करेंगे, Article 21 पहले explain करेंगे because we are writing about Article 21 ना. If we'll explain a person about Article 21 only, then we'll explain the judgment of Supreme Court. अब सीधा judgment बताओगे Supreme Court की तो बंदा बोलेगा भाई पहले ये बता Article 21 होता क्या है. When you will just explain to anybody the judgment of Supreme Court, he or she will definitely ask, let us know about Article 21 first, only then we'll understand about the judgment, right? So first we'll explain Article 21. Now when we talk about Article 21, first we'll write the heading. So when we say Article 21, it means protection of life and personal liberty, that we have taken from the question itself. Protection of life and personal liberty, ये तो हमने question से ही ले लिया. ठीक है. Now further Article 21 says, we will quote the question itself. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. So हमें 2 lines तो यहाँ से question से ही मिल गई. 2 lines we have already got from the question. Now this right we have to mention, is it available only to citizens or non-citizens also? So in India it is available to both the citizens and non-citizens. भारत में तो ये citizens non-citizens दोनों को ही available है right. ठीक है, तो we have to mention this because it is important. Now I have written with different inks. That does not mean that you will also in the actual exam write with different inks. No, you have to write with blue pen only. आपको तो एक ही इंक से लिखना है, ब्लू पेन से ही लिखना है. ठीक है, तो वहां पर रंग बिरंगे कलर से मत लिखने लग जाना because it's a official formal paper that you have to write attempt for. Now here the Article 21 also says that right to life is not merely confined to animal existence. ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई जानवर भी जी रहा है ऐसे तो अपनी जिंदगी. ठीक है, so it does not mean that you are living just for your survival. No, it includes right to live with human dignity and personal autonomy. This has been mentioned in this article also. आप इधर देखोगे in this paragraph. ठीक है, I'll show you here. Personal autonomy of an individual, which is a recognized facet of protection guaranteed under Article 21, encompasses right to refuse to undergo any medical treatment in sphere of individual health. It is mentioned in the article. That is why reading article is really important. Okay, so we are quoting the article itself because Supreme Court के जो Justice L. Nageshwara Rao है, he has given this statement, so it becomes really important. Okay, so you can save the PDF also, or you can take a cutout of this article and stick it in your GS paper 2 based register. Now Supreme Court has given it a broader interpretation by saying that Article 21 encompasses right to refuse to undergo any medical treatment in the sphere of individual health. Supreme Court has mentioned that here in this paragraph. It has mentioned कि a person has the right to refuse to go any medical treatment. अगर कोई मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट के लिए मना करता है कोई इंसान, तो वो उसकी इंडिविजुअल हेल्थ के लिए उसका खुद का राइट है. आप उसको फोर्स नहीं कर सकते. दैट अप्लाइज टू गेटिंग वैक्सीनेटेड अगेंस्ट COVID-19 ऑल्सो, which has been mentioned by the Supreme Court recently. So we have explained the basic definition of Article 21. This is the basic definition. Then we have explained the analytical definition also. And we have explained the definition based on current affair, which has been there in the newspaper also. So this will fetch you good amount of 1.5 to 2 marks when it comes to introduction. आराम से आप अगर इस तरीके से इंट्रोडक्शन फ्रेम करते हो तो आपको 1.5 से 2 नंबर तो यही मिल जाएंगे। ठीक है, समझ आई बात? नाउ यू हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड व्हाट इज आर्टिकल 21, दैट वाज इंट्रोडक्शन। नाउ द क्वेश्चन, दैट इज द मेन बॉडी ऑफ द आंसर कम्स। सो मेन point that the question is asking you is, discuss the statement in light of the current judgment of Supreme Court on vaccination against COVID-19. We'll discuss it, but in the first paragraph of the body of the answer, we'll mention what is the current judgment of Supreme Court. भाई हमें current judgment ही नहीं पता होगी तो discuss क्या खाक करेंगे, right? If you do not know the current judgment, then what will you discuss? So first we'll let the examiner know what is the current judgment of Supreme Court, and then we will explain that current judgment. Discuss मतलब आप बताओ, discuss करो, just like you discuss among your friends and family members. Okay, similarly we are going to discuss this statement based on the current judgment, but first we'll explain the current judgment. So in the first part of the body of the answer, we'll first explain the current judgment of Supreme Court. Supreme Court had ruled that no one can be forced to get vaccinated because bodily autonomy and integrity are protected under Article 21, right to life of the Indian Constitution. That has been the ruling that we have studied already. इस paragraph में हमने पढ़ा था, first paragraph में, that Supreme Court is saying bodily autonomy और integrity जो है वो Article 21 का part है. Okay, clear? We have underlined the important line in the ruling of Supreme Court so that the examiner's attention can be brought here. एग्जामिनर का अटेंशन, देखो बहुत सारे पेपर्स चेक करने होते हैं एग्जामिनर को, द एग्जामिनर हैज टू चेक सो मेनी पेपर्स इन अ डे, 100 पेपर्स इन अ डे. So that is why we are going to bring about his or her attention on the most important lines of the answer. And Supreme Court says that, see, Supreme Court is supporting the people that you cannot force people to get vaccinated, but Supreme Court is also applauding government's present vaccination program to preserve the public health. But finally, Supreme Court has concluded that denying unvaccinated people access to basic welfare measures and freedom of travel are unreasonable. Supreme Court ने ये कहा है कि ठीक है, bodily autonomy और integrity का पार्ट होते हैं, आर्टिकल 21 का पार्ट होते हैं, तो इसके तहत आप किसी को फोर्स तो नहीं कर सकते कि इंजेक्शन लगवाओ कोविड-19 के लिए, ठीक है. बट सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा है कि गवर्नमेंट की जो अभी वैक्सीनेशन प्रोग्राम है वो सही है बिल्कुल, बट आप अनवैक्सीनेटेड लोगों को वेलफेयर मेजर्स एक्सेस नहीं करने दे रहे हो, दैट इज रॉन्ग, दैट इज unreasonable because Article 21 is protecting the desire of unvaccinated person to not get vaccinated. Okay, so this is the current judgment of Supreme Court that we have explained. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 7 lines में हमने explain कर दिया, ठीक है. We have underlined the most important parts of the answer. Okay, now we will start answering the body number 2 of the answer. Okay, now we have explained the current judgment. Now we have to discuss this Article 21 in light of current judgment. That means कि Article 21 तो हमें पता है क्या है, अब discuss करते हैं the Article 21 based on the current judgment of Supreme Court. ठीक है, तो अभी जो current judgment आया है Supreme Court का Article 21 के मद्देनजर से उसको discuss करते हैं कि is it correct or what is the meaning of this current judgment of Supreme Court and how it is related to Article 21, that we have to discuss. ठीक है, so now in the body part 2 of the answer, we'll first say that yes, court is supporting both Article 21, the bodily autonomy, and government's present vaccination program, right? That means court is establishing a balance between individual right and government's concern. गवर्नमेंट जो चाह रही है, जैसे चाह रही है वैक्सीनेशन प्रोग्राम को आगे बढ़ाना, वो और इंडिविजुअल राइट जो एक इंसान का है इस कंट्री में, वो दोनों को बैलेंस किया है कोर्ट ने, ठीक है, दोनों के बीच में एक बैलेंस बनाया है. कोर्ट इज नॉट सेइंग दैट गवर्नमेंट इज रॉन्ग एंड कोर्ट इज नॉट सेइंग दैट द पीपल शुड बी फोर्सफुली वैक्सीनेटेड. इट इज मेंटेनिंग अ बैलेंस इन इट्स जजमेंट. सो वी हैव हाईलाइटेड दैट, हमने वो भी हाईलाइट कर दिया. Okay, so that means court is saying that bodily integrity is protected under Article 21. That means no individual can be forced to get vaccinated. That means person has the right to refuse to undergo any medical treatment when it comes to his individual health. Finally, we have concluded by a flow chart what is bodily integrity, and we have compared it to Article 21. हमने कंपेयर कर दिया ना सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट को भी, आर्टिकल 21 को भी, और मीनिंग ऑफ बॉडीली इंटेग्रिटी को भी. बॉडीली इंटेग्रिटी आर्टिकल 21 में प्रोटेक्टेड है, यानी कि किसी को भी आप वैक्सीन लगाने के लिए फोर्स नहीं कर सकते. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, नाउ यू हैव डिस्कस्ड कि किसी भी इंसान को आप इंडिविजुअल हेल्थ को लेकर कोई भी मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट लेने के लिए फोर्स नहीं कर सकते. वो इंसान की मर्जी है कि वो वैक्सीन लगवाए या नहीं लगवाए, ठीक है, so that means a person is free to take his or her decision. Okay, but the court is also applauding government's concern for public health. Court is saying that government's current vaccination program is quite good. The government said when the issue expanded to public health, right now we have studied over here communitarian health. In that case government is entitled to regulate the issues. अगर community की health की बात आती है, when we are talking about the health of the entire community, so government has the right to regulate the laws and authorities. Okay, so here when the issue expanded to public health, the government had the authority to regulate it. But over here I told you that if government is trying to enforce any rule or order on the citizens, in that case Supreme Court has the power of judicial scrutiny. पढ़ा था ना यहाँ पर जुडिशियल स्क्रूटनी के बारे में कि भाई गवर्नमेंट अपनी कोई पावर और रूल लगाएगा तो उसकी हार्शनेस एग्जामिन करने के लिए जुडिशियल स्क्रूटनी का यूज सुप्रीम कोर्ट कर सकता है. ओके, so here also we will mention, we have said that government can regulate when it comes to communitarian health, but the government's right to regulate is also open to judicial scrutiny on the grounds which is given in K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case, judgment that upheld the right of privacy as constitutional right under Article 21 in 2017. 2017 में 9 जज बेंच जो था सुप्रीम कोर्ट का, उन्होंने एक यूनानिमस वर्डिक्ट दी थी. They affirmed in 2017 that the Constitution of India guarantees to each individual a fundamental right to privacy under Article 21. And we have studied Article 21 over here. We have explained Article 21. And this judicial scrutiny comes with the threefold conditions which is mentioned in the doctrine of proportionality. Okay, so the courts had the authority to determine whether government's intrusions into an individual's personal autonomy, यानी कि government interfere करता है, तो that satisfies, if that satisfies the threefold conditions, then government's rules and regulations can be passed. But if it is not satisfying this threefold condition or threefold test, that means Supreme Court has to strike it down. Okay, so what are the threefold conditions? We'll explain that only then our discussion will be complete. ये discussion चल रहा है ना आपका, you are discussing what is Article 21, how it is relatable to what the current judgment of Supreme Court is, and what is judicial scrutiny, because Article 21 में judicial scrutiny भी आ जाता है. And if judicial scrutiny is there, then there are threefold test. What is threefold condition or threefold test? Only then your entire answer or discussion will be complete, because you are discussing on paper. आप तो discuss कर रहे हो, and when you discuss each and every aspect of that topic. So we are discussing that. So the threefold requirement is that the government action must be supported by law. That means it must be passed through a legislative mandate that we discussed earlier. Then government must have a legitimate interest to bring such a law that collides with the fundamental right. In this case, getting back, not giving welfare schemes or the access to the welfare schemes to the unvaccinated people, it is colliding with the fundamental right. That is Article 21. ओके, तो जो जजमेंट, जो एक्शन गवर्नमेंट पास कर रही है, वो एक्शन जो है फंडामेंटल राइट से कोलाइड नहीं करना चाहिए. That is why Supreme Court is, trying to tell the government that right now, if you are not allowing medical welfares or health welfares to the unvaccinated person, that is wrong. ओके, वो बात गलत है. तभी तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जजमेंट में ये कहा कि आपका प्रोग्राम तो ठीक है, बट अब वेलफेयर जो है, जो सोसाइटी को मिलना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, एक डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी को, उसमें आप वेलफेयर एक्सेस नहीं दे रहे हो अनवैक्सीनेटेड लोगों को. ये तो गलत बात है. You are indirectly forcing them. That is wrong. And third, government's infringement of government's interference must be proportional to its aim. That means it must be necessary for a democratic society. जो aim है गवर्नमेंट का और जो एक्शन है गवर्नमेंट का, वो एक दूसरे के साथ बैलेंस होना चाहिए. ठीक है, पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया. तो दैट इज द थ्रीफोल्ड रिक्वायरमेंट. नाउ विल कम टू द कंक्लूजन. अब हम कंक्लूजन पे आएंगे. सो after this whole discussion, what you have concluded as per your opinion, that you have to write. मतलब डिस्कशन पूरा खत्म हो गया. अब इस डिस्कशन से आपने क्या सीखा, ठीक है, what have you learned from this discussion, that you have to write in the conclusion. And conclusion can be of 4 to 5 lines only, उससे ज्यादा नहीं, not more than that. So as per my conclusion, there is a need to dispel all the misinformation right now. See, why people are saying that government is forcing us to get vaccinated, because they are misinformed about the vaccines. लोग क्यों बोल रहे हैं कि हमें वैक्सीनेशन नहीं लगवानी या गवर्नमेंट हमें फोर्स कर रही है? क्योंकि उनको मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली हुई है वैक्सीनेशन की, कि भाई वैक्सीन बॉडी में जाएगी, कुछ और नया गड़बड़ घोटाला हो जाएगा. हम अपनी बॉडी में कुछ बाहर से नहीं डलवाना चाहते। ऐसी बातें क्यों कर रही है जनता? क्योंकि उनको इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है। Citizens cannot be forced, but they can be informed ना। हम उनके सामने देखो, हम उन्हें हाथ मरोड़ के फोर्स तो नहीं कर सकते, बट हम उन्हें इन्फॉर्म तो कर सकते हैं। The fact that vaccines meet the necessary safety standards set by so many organizations including WHO needs to be highlighted। हमें लोगों के सामने ये हाईलाइट करना है कि ये जो वैक्सीन हम आपको दे रहे हैं ये सारे सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल्स को फॉलो करती हैं, आपकी बॉडी में बाहर से कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं जा रहा है। Government must highlight the success which has been observed due to vaccination कि hospitalization rates have come down, positivity rate has come down. Why? Because more and more people are getting vaccinated. That is the reason. So if people are informed like this, they will get vaccinated. फोर्स करने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी। So this is how you have to form your opinion। ऐसे आपको अपना ओपिनियन सामने रखना है, ठीक है। सो दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन आर्टिकल 21 के ऊपर। आई होप आपको ये पॉइंट अच्छे से समझ आ रहा हो, आई होप आपको ये आंसर अच्छे से समझ आया है। नाउ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डिस्कशन। You have discussed everything right from the Supreme Court's judgment to the government's actions and the necessary legislations of judicial scrutiny and your own conclusion। इस तरीके से आपको आंसर को पढ़ना है और अपना जो ओपिनियन है, व्यू पॉइंट है आर्टिकल को पढ़ने के बाद, वो लिखना है। Now the next important article is related to ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट। अब इसके ऊपर ना आपके प्रीलिम्स में ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन आ चुका है। Already in prelims there has been a question 2019 I guess, उसमें क्वेश्चन आ चुका है। So EC sends notice to Soren over office of profit allegation। Now you do not have to remember who has been given this notice of office of profit allegation। No, you have to understand and analyze what exactly is office of profit। So under section 9A of the Representation of the People Act 1951, Mr. Soren could face disqualification for entering into a government contract now। So we have to study section 9A of the Representation of People Act 1951। So if an MLA or MP holds a government office, अगर कोई MP या MLA government office, government position पे है, and then through that government position he or she is receiving benefits from it, then that office is termed as an office of profit। Okay, now in our Indian Constitution, हमारा जो भारत का संविधान है, in the Indian Constitution there is no definition of office of profit। You have to remember this because it was asked in prelims। In our Indian Constitution there is no definition जो है that is not present of office of profit। So if you are an MLA or MP, you are already getting your salary, and apart from that salary you are holding any other government contract or other office and you are receiving benefit from that position also, that is office of profit। And a person will be disqualified if he holds an office of profit under central state government, because now you are getting paid from two places ना। आप MP हो या MLA हो तो आपको सैलरी तो वैसे भी मिल ही रही है, ठीक है, बट उसके अलावा अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट यू आर होल्डिंग एनी अदर पोजीशन थ्रू विच यू आर गेटिंग पेड, थ्रू विच यू आर गेटिंग रेम्यूनरेशन बेनिफिट्स, दैट इज ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट, एंड ऑन दैट ग्राउंड यू कैन बी डिस्क्वालिफाइड। ओके, नाउ व्हाट क्वेश्चन दे कैन आस्क यू इन मेंस। मेंस में क्या क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं? एक्सप्लेन द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट। ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो एक्सप्लेन करो। व्हाट इज ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट? ओके, and then they will ask discuss the underlying principle for including office of profit as criterion for disqualification। That means now you have to discuss why when a MP or MLA is disqualified on the grounds of holding office of profit, what is that underlying principle, why they are using this principle to disqualify an MP and MLA। क्यों एक कंट्री में ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट का रीजन यूज करके भी एक MP MLA को डिस्क्वालीफाई किया जा सकता है। डिस्कस दैट रीजन, discuss that this underlying meaning of this principle that is used to disqualify the MP and MLA। So first, very clear, very easy question it is, बहुत ही easy question है। This question is divided into two parts: explain the concept of office of profit, and second, discuss this principle which is used to disqualify MP and MLA। So first we'll explain what is office of profit। Okay, so when we talk about the opening line or the opening paragraph of the question, we have to start with explaining or defining what is office of profit, because in our Indian constitution there is no specific definition of office of profit. हमारे भारतीय संविधान में definition नहीं है. Yes, a term has been mentioned under Article 102 subsection 1 and Article 191 subsection 1. The term office of profit is mentioned, but it is not defined. So we will start our answer by starting to answer the first part of the question. Explain the concept of office of profit. So if an MLA or MP holds a government office, that means he is receiving that salary from MP and MLA position, and then he receives benefits or remuneration from it, then that office is termed as office of profit. Matlab, if an MP or MLA holds a government office, he is receiving salary from being an MLA or MP, but now he is also holding another government office or government position, or any private position. It cannot be just government, any private position or private post, and then he is receiving benefits and remuneration from that post also, then that will be termed as office of profit. Now profit means, profit can be monetary gain also, profit can be any other benefit also, non-monetary benefit also, it can be useful consequence also, any advantage. And office of profit means some power of patronage. If it is attached with the profit, it becomes office of profit. जब आप कोई पावरफुल पोजीशन भी होल्ड कर रहे हो उस प्रॉफिट के साथ साथ, जहां से आपको वो प्रॉफिट आ रहा है, यू आर गेटिंग द प्रॉफिट एंड यू आर होल्डिंग अ पोजीशन इज आल्सो अटैच्ड विद दैट प्रॉफिट, दैट मींस दैट इज ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट. एंड this is the basic explanation of the concept of office of profit. ये तो हमने concept समझा दिया. Okay, now we have understood the definition of office of profit. Now in the body of the answer we will talk about the concept behind the office of profit. कि भैया ये office of profit term भले ही constitution में defined नहीं है, but ये term आया क्यों? Why this term? Why are we talking about this term? Why MPs and MLAs can be disqualified using this term? So हम concept explain करेंगे. We have defined it properly. It was not defined in the constitution, but we have explained the meaning of office of profit in the introduction. Now body of the answer part 1 will talk about the concept, and body of the answer part 2 will talk about why it is used as a disqualification. Okay. So when we talk about office of profit, we know that the MPs and the MLAs, they are part of legislature, right? हमें पता है MP MLAs कौन होते हैं? Legislatures का part होते हैं ना, executive का part नहीं होते. They are part of legislature. Why? Because they hold the government accountable for their work. They question the government in the house. गवर्नमेंट से क्वेश्चन करते हैं ना, आपने ये पॉलिसी क्यों निकाली, ये स्टेट अभी करंट सिचुएशन चल रही है सोसाइटी की और कंट्री की, तो आप ये पॉलिसी कैसे लेकर आए. दे आस्क द क्वेश्चन टू द गवर्नमेंट, दे होल्ड देम अकाउंटेबल फॉर देयर एक्शंस, एंड गवर्नमेंट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव. So if MPs and MLAs start holding office of profit, अगर MPs MLAs एग्जीक्यूटिव में ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट यानी कि अलग अलग पोजीशंस होल्ड करने लगेंगे, देन दे विल बी ससेप्टेबल टू द गवर्नमेंट इन्फ्लुएंस. मान लो द MPs and MLAs आर होल्डिंग ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट और ऑफिस ऑफ रेम्यूनरेशन और एनी पोजीशन इन द एग्जीक्यूटिव, देन दे कैन नॉट क्वेश्चन द गवर्नमेंट. Okay, they might get influenced by the government, so they will not be in a position to discharge their duty fairly. Okay, so to avoid that conflict of the moral conflict between the legislative position and the executive position, office of profit law is applied. Okay, so office of profit, what is it doing? It is enforcing a basic feature of the constitution, that is separating the power of legislature from the executive. लेजिस्लेचर को एग्जीक्यूटिव से अलग रखने का काम ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट करता है. ओके, पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया. नाउ व्हेन वी लुक एट the office of profit as per the constitution, see at present the parliament, that is the Prevention of Disqualification Act 1959, it bars, that is it restricts, it stops the MP or MLA or MLC from holding any office of profit. इस वक्त जो पार्लियामेंट प्रिवेंशन ऑफ डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन एक्ट 1959 है, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग MP MLA या MLC जो है वो ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट की कोई पोजीशन सेंट्रल या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के अंडर नहीं होल्ड कर सकते, अनलेस अगर वो पोजीशन एग्जेम्प्टेड है. ठीक है. सो हियर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द लेजिस्लेटर्स होल्डिंग एनी पोजीशन एज द एग्जीक्यूटिव्स. इन दैट केस दे कैन फेस डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन अगर उनको उस पोजीशन से फाइनेंशियल गेन या बेनिफिट आ रहा है. So an office of profit has been interpreted to be a position. It is a position that can bring to the office holder some financial gain or any kind of advantage or any kind of remuneration or benefit. Amount of such kind of profit is immaterial. Amount of profit जो उन्हें मिलता है वो जरूरी नहीं है, but profit मिल रहा है ना, तो वो office of profit हो गया. Okay, so we have understood and we have explained the concept of office of profit now. First part of the question has been answered. Moving ahead to the next part of the question. Discuss the underlying principle for including office of profit as criterion for disqualification. When we are using this criteria for disqualifying the MP MLA, what is the principle involved? That you have to डिस्कस. वो आपको डिस्कस करना है कि जब हम इस टर्म को यूज कर रहे हैं किसी को डिस्क्वालीफाई करने के लिए, तो उसके पीछे का प्रिंसिपल क्या है. सो नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू आंसर द पार्ट 2 ऑफ द बॉडी ऑफ द आंसर, और यू कैन से पार्ट 3. तो जब पार्ट 2 की हम बात करेंगे, सो व्हाट वाज द क्वेश्चन इन पार्ट 2? डिस्कस द अंडरलाइंग प्रिंसिपल ऑफ ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट when it comes to disqualifying an MP or MLA. तो क्या प्रिंसिपल है? प्रिंसिपल मीन्स डिस्कस द इंटेंशन of office of disqualifying a person in the name of office of profit. Office of profit का बहाना देकर किसी इंसान को अगर disqualify किया जा रहा है तो उसके पीछे का intention क्या है? So when the makers of the constitution created the legislature or the executive, their roles, duties or functions, they wanted that legislators should not feel obligated to the executive in any way, because in that way what will happen, it could influence them while discharging their legislative functions, because they question the government, they hold the government accountable, they hold the executive accountable, the legislators, right? लेजिस्लेटर्स क्या करते हैं? एग्जीक्यूटिव को अकाउंटेबल होल्ड करते हैं ना, जिम्मेदार ठहराते हैं कि भाई तुम्हारी वजह से ये हो रहा है, तुम्हारे इस एक्ट की वजह से ये हो रहा है. बट अगर लेजिस्लेटर्स ही एग्जीक्यूटिव्स के एरिया में एक ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट होल्ड कर लेंगे तो वो गवर्नमेंट के आगे उंगली नहीं उठा सकते. So an MP or MLA should be free to carry out their duties without any kind of pressure from the executives or the government. So the intention of office of profit as a disqualification is that there should be no conflict between the duties and interest of an elected member. Okay, so office of profit is, what is it trying to do? The underlying principle is the principle of separation of power. देखो ये है underlying principle, principle of separation of power between legislature and executive. This is the underlying principle behind using office of profit as a disqualification. ठीक है, क्लियर हो गया यहाँ तक सभी को? So this will be our conclusion. ये हमारा हो जाएगा यहाँ पर conclusion, and this is how we have to answer this question. इस तरीके से हमें इस question को answer करना है. The next important article in the paper was LIC IPO anchor investor quota oversubscribed. As you all know, LIC has released its initial public offer, that is IPO. Now यहाँ पर दो चीजें हमें पढ़नी है. We have to study about anchor investor and we have to study about IPO. And this article is important from the perspective of prelims. Okay, so initial public offering is a process through which a privately held company or a government owned company, LIC जैसी companies जो हैं या कोई भी privately owned company, they raise funds by offering shares to the public or to the new investors. Even you can apply for the IPO. तो funding कैसे अपने लिए raise करती हैं ऐसी companies? IPO के through. वो इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफरिंग करती हैं कि भाई आओ और हमारे शेयर्स आप खरीद सकते हो, इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. ठीक है, एंड हु इज अलाउड टू इन्वेस्ट इन एन आईपीओ? QIBs, that is qualified institutional buyers, which includes foreign portfolio investors also, mutual funds also, insurance companies also, commercial banks also, and those individuals also who can invest up to rupees 2 lakh, those are known as retail investors. So retail investors can also participate in subscribing to the share of a company in the initial public offering. Even high net worth individuals can also subscribe. Who are high net worth individuals? Who can invest more than rupees 2 lakh. Those kind of retail investors are known as high net worth individuals. Okay, and what is anchor investor? Anchor investor, in the article only it is given. Anchor investors are institutional investors that are allotted shares before the subscription opens for retail and other investors. So QIBs हो गए आपके anchor investor. They are institutional buyers, they are institutional investors. ठीक है, जैसे कि FPIs, इंश्योरेंस कंपनी. तो आप लोग जैसे कि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स हो, आप सब्सक्राइब करोगे शेयर्स, उससे पहले ही जब IPO खुलेगा उससे पहले ही उन्होंने अपने कुछ शेयर QIBs को दे रखा होगा. इन्हीं को एंकर इन्वेस्टर कहते हैं. ठीक है, पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया। तो जितने भी पेंशन फंड्स होते हैं, कमर्शियल बैंक्स होते हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड्स होते हैं, वो आपके QIBs होते हैं या एंकर इन्वेस्टर आप उन्हें कह सकते हो। तो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन दे कैन आस्क यू इन प्रीलिम्स, प्रीलिम्स में कैसे क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है, व्हाट आर द स्टेटमेंट्स अबाउट, विच ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट्स अबाउट द एंकर इन्वेस्टर इज और आर करेक्ट। एंकर इन्वेस्टर्स आर इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर्स हु आर अलॉटेड शेयर्स जस्ट बिफोर एन IPO opens for subscription. All anchor investors are bound by a lock-in period since they get a confirmed allotment of a company's shares. तो which statement is correct? First is correct. ठीक है, पहला statement तो बिल्कुल correct है, तो second eliminate कर सकते हो आप, ठीक है, D eliminate कर सकते हो। All anchor investors are bound because उनको confirmed allotment दी है before the retail investors can take the shares. Anchor investors और QIBs are already given the shares. So second statement is also correct. They are bound by the lock-in period. So C is the correct answer over here. यहाँ पर आपका C जो है वो correct answer हो जाएगा. Both statements are correct. Okay, this is how they can ask you questions. ये छोटे छोटे articles भी बहुत important है. You cannot ignore them. So this was your very first class in the 4-week The Hindu Answer Writing course. अब आपको होमवर्क टेलीग्राम चैनल पर ग्रुप पे जो हमने सेपरेट ग्रुप बनाया है, वी हैव क्रिएटेड अ सेपरेट ग्रुप फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर बैच. ओके, सो इफ यू हैवंट सब्सक्राइब्ड और इफ यू हैवंट enrolled in our batch, you can by mailing us. The email ID is given below in the description box. The fees of the course is just ₹400. ठीक है, and the batch is open right now. You can, if you want to enroll, if you haven't enrolled, you can enroll. And those who have already enrolled, see, you will be getting 2 to 3 homework questions on the telegram group based on today's the Hindu newspaper analysis. आज जो 3 मई का हमने हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस किया है, इसके ऊपर आपको 3 क्वेश्चन आज होमवर्क मिलेंगे मेंस बेस्ड. ओके, सो दैट you have to solve and submit. And those who have not enrolled, please mail us on the email ID given below and enroll now. The fees is just ₹400.